What if I told you that you could instantly spice up your rhythm guitar by not playing notes? What I'm referring to are what are known as ghost notes, not to be confused with rests, which is literally dead space between notes where nothing is being played. Ghost notes, there's something happening, something's being played, but it's not notes. You know what? Let me just show you. It'll make more sense. Let's take, for example, a power chord rock rhythm. Let's hear how it sounds with no ghost notes. Here's that exact same rhythm, but with ghost notes. You see what I mean now? Ghost notes just add this driving rhythm and just flavor to what you're playing, especially when you're playing on your own. It's just a great way to keep a good solid beat when you don't have a metronome or a drummer helping you out. So let's break down this rock rhythm that I did. It's really simple. It's just 3 power chords, starting with the 5th fret on the low E string. We're doing that A power chord there. So it's 5th fret on low E, 7th fret on A, 7th fret on D. Then we're going to take that 2 frets down, 1, 2, and play 3, 5, 5 here. And then we're going to play back to 5, 7, 7, but starting on the A string. So A string, D string, G string. So it's just those 3 power chords. And as far as what my picking hand is doing, it's doing this the entire time. Right, so it's just constantly down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, never changing, not even for a second. So to practice this rhythm, just mute the strings on your guitar and just go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Kind of sounds like those old Pac-Man games. It's kind of fun. But anyway, you want to keep that going because in this example, it never stops. So you just want to get in the groove of it. Nice, even, down, up motion, right? And once we start it, we're going to start on we're going to hit the chord, and then it kind of kicks off the whole thing. So you can even think of it like this. We play the first power chord. That's another kind of fun thing you can do where it's just like building yourself up into it, right? There's all kinds of things you can do with this example, and I'm sure you're going to have all kinds of fun, unique, and creative ways that you apply this thing. But anyway, let's stick to what the tab says. So we start with, we're doing a down, up, and we're playing the full power chord. Now remember, that's the only motion our picking hand is doing constantly. So we have down, up, and then we're going to have 2 ghost notes. So it's down, up, ghost note, okay? And then during that ghost note, we're gonna use the time to prepare for the next power chord. So we have the first down, up, ghost note, down, up, ghost note. Then it just repeats, right? You know, as far as the rhythm. All right, and then once we're on an upstroke now. Once we get to the D power chord here, starting on the 5th fret of the A string, all right, we're going to do a down, up on that. Then we're going to mute, right? We're going to do 1 ghost note, and then on the upstroke, we're going to play the power chord, and then another ghost note. So we're doing, all right, so we have down, up, mute, and on the upstroke, we're going to be playing the power chord, and then mute on the downstroke, and then power chord on the upstroke, right? And then mute on the downstroke. So I'm just going to play through that slow for you, starting on the D power chord here. Oh, and then of course, at the very end of it, right, we do 2 ghost notes, ghost note, right? All right, so just the whole thing, we have. Okay, and then we're going to essentially repeat it, but the last measure is going to be a little different. We go back to the A power chord here on the 5th fret of the low E string. And then once we've done that last ghost note on the power chords on the low E string, we're moving back to the D power chord. This is where all the changes are whenever we hit the D power chord. We're going to go down, right, hit it, and then on the upstroke, mute, down, hit it, upstroke, mute. So it's like this. All right, so it's just hit, mute, hit, mute, hit, mute, hit, mute. And then when that last mute, that upstroke, we can just repeat it as many times as we want if we want to. So just to recap on the whole thing, it goes like this. What really helps with muting the strings and being able to play the chords quickly after that is to, have the shape of the power chord and kind of keep it there. But then when you mute, just relax your fingers on the strings, but keep them in that position. So don't go like this because it's just too much movement. And with how kind of instantaneous this is, you want to just kind of keep a nice, just a constant flow going. So just like when you hit the chord, you're fretting the notes, and then when you mute it, you're still in position, but you've just relaxed and you're just touching your fingers to the strings instead of fretting them. But hey, you know what? This wouldn't be a proper ghost note rhythm lesson without a funk example. Yeah, let's try that out. All right, let's get funky. So this one, we're just gonna be playing pretty much one chord with just a little embellishment of just moving that chord up a fret at the end. But we're playing a G9 chord, very common in the funk, and this is gonna be the 10th fret with our second finger on the A string. First finger is gonna be on the 9th fret of the D string, and then our third finger is gonna bar the remaining 3 strings at the bottom on the 10th fret there. So it's like this little bar happening. You're just playing the bottom 5 strings. Now, if this is a weird chord for you, if it's something you've never tried before, because the really important thing is to maintain a solid hold of this chord, because, that's pretty much all you got to do with your fretting hand for this example. You can actually just do this if it's a little bit easier. Have this bar here, and then have your first finger on the 9th fret there. And you can just kind of like focus on the bottom, like 3 or 4 strings. If you want to do that, that's totally fine. Otherwise, that's the full G9 chord. And what we're going to do, you may have noticed what my picking hand was doing, exact same idea as with the rock example, right? So if I were to just mute these and just like I'm going to just keep just ghost noting, and then I'll actually sound out those little chord stabs we're doing with the G9 chord. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba. Right? So with every stroke I'm doing on my right hand, there's going to be a note, whether it's a ghost note or hitting that chord. So again, just to this is actually meant to simplify, right? So you know that you're just doing this the whole time. You're not doing any kind of complex polyrhythmic or like 30-second note. You're not doing any crazy thing like that, right? We're just keeping it simple, and this can be played really slow and greasy, or you can play it fast, Now, one cool little trick that I learned, especially when it comes to funk rhythm playing, is because there's all this constant chicka 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 going on, right? With your pick, just kind of like strum right here rather than over here, like how we would pretty much normally do. Right over here, right on the neck of your guitar, there's actually a lot less resistance because I guess the vibrations, especially when you're playing a chord way up here, they're not, quite as wide. So it just kind of agrees with, there's just less friction, right? So it just makes it easier. So you can actually do all kinds of comfortable funk rhythm stuff up here compared to over here, where there definitely feels like there's more friction on the strings. So if you try that out, it'll give you a huge advantage. Okay, so let's break down this rhythm. So we're starting out with a hit on the downbeat, right? And we're downstroking that. So it's gonna be hit with the chord and then 2 ghost notes, ghost note. So we have, right? So when we do it, oh, sorry, let me do it the right way. There we go, where we're holding the shape of the chord. Instead of going like this, right? We're holding the shape of the chord so that we can just be ready to stab it right back in, right? So we're doing hit with the chord, 2 ghost notes, ghost note. So we have, and then when we do that next hit, it's gonna be on the upstroke. So we have, right? And another 2 ghost notes. So we have. So we actually repeat that, a couple times. We have. So we have chord, ghost, note, chord, ghost, note, chord, ghost, note. All right? Sounds very James Brown. All right? So once we do that 3 times, let's see what's next. Then we have. So here's where we go. We hit on the downstroke with the chord, then ghost note with the upstroke, hit the downstroke again, like that. So we have. And then from here, with that last chord I just played, it kicks off the next measure. All right, this is where we make the 1 change with our fretting end. So we're essentially repeating. It's not complex, right? You just have to like remember where the chord and the ghost note hits are, right? And the tab will tell you. You'll see this big old X across all the strings on the tab. That represents the ghost note, right? Now, it'll look like that X covers all 6 strings. And technically, yes, you can ghost note all 6 strings, but it really doesn't matter. It can be, 4 strings, 3 strings, maybe not 2 or 1 string, but just get like a good chunk of strings in there. It still counts as a ghost note. So don't worry too much on whether or not you're playing all 6 strings when you're doing it. All right, so the second half of this, we have chord, ghost, note, chord, ghost, note, chord, ghost, note, chord, ghost, note, ghost. So there's 3 ghost notes after that 4th chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 3 of those ghost notes because we're going to go into a, there we go, where we just sharpen the whole chord. We bring it up to G sharp 9, and we're playing it with an upstroke. It's up, down, up. And then the whole thing can essentially repeat from there. All right, but the whole time, picking hand is just staying constant, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So it's just about really concentrating on what beats you're landing on. So just work at it one at a time, but it's nice to digest in chunks where you're like, chord, ghost, note, chord, ghost, note. Oh, I did it wrong. Chord, ghost, note, chord, ghost, note, chord, ghost, note, chord. I'm like tongue twisting here. Chord, ghost, note, right? And then, of course, in the second half of it, when we're doing chord, ghost, note, chord, ghost, note, chord, ghost, note, chord, ghost, note, ghost. Right, there's 3 of those after the 4th chord stab. 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna do, then we're gonna play 3 times that sharpened chord, that G sharp 9 chord. All right, which is just a common thing in funk is kind of like a turnaround, it's just like you just go a little bit outside and then just bring it right back home. Yeah. Remember, while you're learning this stuff, if there's any part of the lesson you need to revisit, just go back in the video, find the parts you need to spend more time on, and watch them as many times as it takes till you get it down. And just like that, you've got some instant spice to your rhythm playing by way of the ghost notes. And this is something that you can use in virtually anything that you play on guitar. They don't just have to be for rhythm too. Ghost notes can be used in lead guitar as well. It's awesome. It's just a great thing to have in the old trick bag. But while you're practicing this, I want to make sure that you're progressing without a hitch, which is why I want you to have something. It's a 30-second survey that'll tell you exactly what your #1 guitar progress killer is. You'll find out exactly what it is that's been holding you back from playing guitar the way you want to play it, and showing you exactly what you need to do to bust through that forever and never have that problem again. So be sure to click here to take that survey or check the link in the description box. And if you enjoyed this lesson, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. And you can check out our other relevant lessons we got right over here. I want to thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. I'm Eddie with Guitar Mastery Method, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.